Oh, hello. In today's video, I'm going to compare the Shatterpoint starter box with the Kill Team starter box. As you know, this is primarily a Kill Team channel, but recently I've been dabbling, shall we say, in AMG's Star Wars Shatterpoint, and it got me thinking, what should a core box be? So let's first of all compare the price. I can't really talk about value because obviously how much you value something depends on how much money you have and the rest of your life. But we are comparing like-for-like products here, right? We're comparing miniature starter boxes, so we can usually compare their price within themselves, right? So the recommended retail price for the Kill Team starter set in the UK is £67.50. The recommended retail price for the Shatterpoint core box is £164.99. So that is almost £100 more. In the USA, the RRP for the Kill Team starter set is $104. And in the USA, the RRP is that same figure, $164.99, but this time it's US dollars. So, people who live in the US are always complaining that Games Workshop stuff is more expensive for them than it is for us here in the UK. And the shoe is now on the other foot, right? We are now feeling what the Americans feel when they look at prices. Shatterpoint is quite expensive. It is comparatively cheaper in the UK. I also want to talk a little bit about comparatively cheaper in the US, I should say. I also want to talk a little bit about discounts. So you can find a better discount generally on Shatterpoint than you can on Games Workshop stuff. So looking around today, when I made the video, the best price I could find in the UK for Shatterpoint, the core set was £118.95 at Chaos Cards, which is a pretty good price compared to the £160 they ask for RRP. Whereas the best price I can currently find for the Kill Team starter set in the UK is £54. Wayland Games, but many other places, Dark Sphere, right, have it at that price. That's because Games Workshop capped the discount that friendly little gaming stores are allowed to give at 20%. If they routinely discount more than that, they can actually lose their ability to buy things directly from Games Workshop. Now, have a look at USA discount prices. Being in the UK, finding out like cheap USA prices is actually really hard because Google tries really hard to send you relevant search results, right? But the cheapest USA price I could find for Shatterpoint was $131.99. That was pretty common everywhere. And the cheapest USA price I could find for Kill Team was $88.40. If you those prices, for example, I know I got both those prices among other places, but both those prices at the Frontline Gaming store as well. So that's a view on the price. So it's a mixed picture, but whatever way you cut it, the Kill Team starter set is a cheaper product, right? It does obviously vary by region that you're in, and the discount availability is a factor, but the Kill Team starter set is definitely a cheaper product. So let's talk about the tools, the dice, the tokens, and the rules. Both the games come with bespoke measuring tools, okay? Enough for one person to play the game, okay? You get enough dice in both sets for one person to manage to play the game. Probably want a few more dice to be comfortable. Now, it's worth saying that in Kill Team, the dice are standard 6-sided dice, so you probably have more. In Shatterpoint, they have the bespoke dice, so while you totally can get through a game with two people with one dice set, you probably end up wanting a second dice set. Okay, and if you're splitting your set with a friend or you plan to like both attend tournaments or whatever, you'll need a second set of measuring tools for those games as well. Okay, for both games, right? That's Kill Team and Shatterpoint. You'll both need that second set of what for Kill Team was called the Kill Team Essentials, right? The movement tools and things like that. You will get enough dice to manage. Yeah, I've already made that point. Rules-wise, both boxes come with a core rulebook for free. The Shatterpoint rulebook is actually online for free as well, so the fact they give you a printed one in the rulebook in the box is less valuable, I guess. In Shatterpoint, you get the full rules for all the models in the box. For Kill Team, and this is a bit of a burn, you get your orcs and your guardsmen. I'll look at them in a minute. They're lovely, but if you want to use them in the full game, you also need to pick up the Kill Team
Octarius book for £27.50, and you also need an £18 deck of critical operations cards. So this then brings the kill team stuff up to £113, where it starts to kind of close the gap with Shatterpoint a little bit, because it really isn't, and in more ways that we'll look at, it really isn't a complete set. Yeah. Now, I know people are going to say, well, I can just get those rules for free. Not officially. And I have had at least one person in my comments who said, look, I don't think it's ethical to get rules online for free. And I'm glad that, like, I don't. A lot of other YouTubers just assume, of course, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to KT Dash or whatever else it might be. There's loads of them now, right? And get the rules. And I have actually had at least one person that's commented and said, actually, I'm glad you always talk about buying the rules, because some people seem to assume that we're all comfortable pirating it, and I actually regard that as not a thing. So, I personally, my own moral take in it is I buy the rules, and then I feel like having the rules on the shelf in my living room, that then morally allows me to pirate them as well, because I've already paid for the product, right? And then I think that looking at them online, because it's a bit easier, is probably fine. But that's my take on it. Your own ethical stance on that will vary, obviously, right? But the point is here, it's not an officially supported thing, unlike with Shatterpoint, where it's like, yeah, it's PDFs on the website for boots, okay? Terrain. So the Shatterpoint comes with enough terrain to just about play a full game of Shatterpoint. Like, you can play a full game, and there have been tournaments where the tables had just this terrain, so it is possible. You probably want down the road to buy one or both of the terrain expansions for Shatterpoint, like to enrich your game experience, but you can definitely play a full valid game on this terrain, right? Now, the same can't be said for the Kill Team starter set. You just get, as pictured here, the kind of 3 scrap piles and 3 barricades, which is just about enough to play the sort of teaching tutorial thing found in the quick start guide. But if you actually want to play Kill Team, you'll need to invest in the terrain set, which, I mean, at the moment you can't buy, but that's a whole other issue. But even if you, imagining you could buy it, you would have to go out and buy the extra terrain set. I will say, though, to Kill Team's credit, it comes with a paper mat that marks out the play area. So for Shatterpoint, you do need some way to denote the play area. So you can go off and buy a 3x3 neoprene or vinyl mat, right, from your choice of places. Or you just get some masking tape, mask off a 3x3 area. But you do need to do something to denote that playing surface as well. So that's, you know, it's a bit nuanced, but unambiguously, I think the Shatterpoint terrain offering, by virtue of that, you probably can, with that plus a roll of masking tape, you can have a proper experience of what the full game is like, whereas with the Kill Team starter set, you really can't. We look at the teams. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the Kill Team stuff. So in Kill Team starter box, you get 22 really lovely models. I would say 20 kind of full size, just to be really clear, because I'm counting the grot as a model and the bomb squig as the model. I'm not counting the weird little bag on a base that has no purpose. That's nobody I know has ever put that there, painted it, or done anything with it. It's no one knows what that's for. So 22, I will say, really lovely miniatures. In gameplay terms, these are 2 full teams capable of playing the game, right? You can play a full game of Kill Team with these 2 teams. Now, the Orc Commandos, that's, for those of you that might be mainly, I don't know who's watching this video, whether it's Kill Teamers or Shatterpointers, right? But for those of you who don't know, these are the Orc Commandos up here, and they are a full fantastic team right out the box. You could literally have picked this box up in the starter set in 2021 and still just be playing Kill Team today, rocking up to every single tournament, winning, podiuming, not feeling any way like you're missing out or losing out, and not having had to pick up and purchase a single extra miniature. That's pretty cool. The Vet Guard are also a really good team. In terms of, you know, they're really well regarded, they're quite a powerful team. They're starting to feel a little bit eclipsed by some of the stuff right now, but they've been a really strong team for over 2 years of the game's lifespan. You do need to pick up a second box. Basically, everybody agrees from the top level to kind of the frankly mid people, right? Everybody agrees you need a second box to get those 4 additional models for your team and to have options for your gunners. But there are rules in the rulebook. You can go and play a tournament with these 10 models. It's just not the optimal build, okay? So you do get 2 full teams, but you'd ideally like to expand that Vet Guard team if you wanted to take it a little bit further. Shatterpoint. So Shatterpoint, you get between 16 and 20 models. It just depends whether. So they got these B1 battle droids that are 3 battle droids, and then they're based together. If you're happy to count those as separate miniatures, then you get 20, which is very comparable to Kill Team. If you think that's one miniature, then it's 16. But the scale is a bit bigger. I think in terms of hobby, right? Hobby stuff to get through and enjoy painting, I think it's about equal. Shatterpoint has an element of list building that I find really interesting. I've already done a whole video around how list building works in Shatterpoint. If you're interested in that, find it on my channel. I really enjoyed making that video. But it uses list building around slots, not points. But you configure these models into 3 distinct armies. So, like most people buy a starter box, and the marketing blurb says share with a friend. Most people don't share with a friend. And one of the things I really like about the Shatterpoint starter box is that you can play it in 3 ways that all make sense, right? So you can play the blue square here versus the purple square here. Or you can take out the Mandalorians in the red circles, and you can play those. So you got 3 viable armies, basically, that I think are all pretty cool. In fact, if you had just these starter box models and you wanted to go to a tournament, probably the best list that you could make would be the 2 Mandalorian sort of focus teams, right? And yes, that means having Ahsoka and Darth Maul on the same team. But hey, that actually kind of happened for like 2 or 3 episodes in the Clone Wars, so I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, yeah. So, I think it's very comparable between both games in terms of the miniatures and what you get and how useful they are. I think they're both really good sets of miniatures that are both really, really useful. So, just to draw up a quick comparison between the two, in terms of price, now, acknowledging that it does vary by region and discount, okay, the discount rules are a clear factor, but it's a clear win for Kill Team. The Kill Team starter set is by far the cheaper product. In terms of terrain, the Shatterpoint box is a clear win. Really, that Kill Team terrain may as well not exist. It's really quite pointless, okay? Rules, dice, and counters. You need to go and buy an additional book and a deck of cards to play the real game of Kill Team from the starter set, whereas the Shatterpoint box does have everything you need to play. And for minis, let me know in the comments which set you think has better miniatures in. I've called it a draw because, just looking at not the terrain, just looking at the actual figures on bases, I've called it a draw. It's going to come down to taste, I think, ultimately. You get slightly fewer of the Shatterpoint miniatures, but they're slightly larger. I think they're both equally well manufactured, and they both have equal kind of game utility, I think. So, yeah, I've put that one down as a draw. So, it seems to be a case of you get what you pay for. But this isn't the end of the video, because I want to talk about Octarius, which is secretly the point of the video, I think. So, Octarius retails at 125 in the UK and 199 in the US, which is interesting in of itself, right? Kill Team Octarius contains the same minis as the starter set, okay? So we've already gone over the minis, but it contains the Octarius terrain, the full set of Octarius terrain, which is like tournament defining, right? Like, this is the Kill Team terrain. If you want to play Kill Team, this is the terrain that people expect you to play in your games on, and everything else is kind of seen as a variant or something off. And this is the thing, right? It was so good, so well regarded. I think people have probably got more use out of Octarius as a terrain set than most other Games Workshop terrain I've ever bought, right? And you absolutely get everything you need to play. I say at launch because they did update the Crit Ops, the Critical Operations update did come out like halfway through the edition, but Shatterpoint's only been out for just over a year, so and you can buy updated like extra scenarios for that now as well. So I say that Octarius at launch, it had absolutely everything you needed to play. So really, really good launch box. So how does it stack up if we compare Octarius to Shatterpoint? The price? I have to put it as a draw, really, because in the price here, well, 125 in the UK, but 199 in the US. And when we compare that with going right way back to Shatterpoint, which is 164 in the US, right? But it's 164 in the UK. So we're in a position where I have to call it a draw, because if you're in the USA, Shatterpoint's cheaper. If you're in the UK, the Octarius box was cheaper. If you're in continental Europe, I don't know. Let me know down below, which is a cheaper box for you, Shatterpoint, or if you can remember how much Octarius was in your country when it came out. Terrain-wise, in Octarius, you absolutely everything you need for a full game, including a map, right? Everything you could ever want. You don't need to add any terrain to that ever. You can just play on Octarius forever and have a wonderful time. Shatterpoint, you can play a kind of you can play a tournament standard game, but it might be slightly preferable, if that makes sense, to have a little bit more terrain. And you do need a map or some way of marking out the play area. So I call that now a narrow win for Octarius. Rules, dice, and counters, you're now getting everything you need to play for both games. And minis, again, you're getting the minis haven't changed from the previous analysis, so I still call that a draw. So if we compare Octarius to the Shatterpoint launch box, like Games Workshop comes out narrowly on top. So to sum up, what's been the point of this video? Shatterpoint is undoubtedly a starter set done right, but so is Octarius. And I think it's really instructive to compare Kill Team to Shatterpoint, because if anything is out there, Shatterpoint simply must be the next biggest. Do I think Shatterpoint's bigger than Infinity? I have absolutely no proof for this, but I think it probably is. Right? It's the next biggest science fiction skirmish game. If you're someone that likes, I want a science fiction skirmish game, you're choosing one of these two games. Maybe you're going to choose Infinity, and then nothing else is even springing. I don't think War Machine's a skirmish game. I think it's a mass battle game. Malifaux? Is it really science fiction-y? Maybe. Right, so there's a few out there, but I think Shatterpoint's got to be considered the nearest competitor to Kill Team, right? Games Workshop's shown with Octarius, it knows exactly what it needs to put in a starter box. They know exactly how to do it. They just have to get over this nonsense. You've made the thing, now just keep selling the thing. Just keep selling the thing. Just keep it on the shelf so that you can get new people can actually get into the game, and you can point and go, yeah, here's Octarius, buy that, right? Get 12 games under your belt with the Orcs, and then if you decide you want to get a second team, a different team that plays differently to the Orcs, go for it, right? And that could be expanding into the Vet Guard with 2 boxes, whatever. But pick up Octarius and play half a dozen games with the Orcs is undoubtedly the best way, would have been the best way to introduce somebody to this game, right? But they just don't want to sell it to you. It's frustrating because it means that they have this sales model at Games Workshop where they put stuff up and it's a FOMO box. You get it. And first of all, that means that some of the people that buy it are going to be speculators and scalpers. Some of the people that buy it are going to be people that don't care about the game at all. They just want the miniatures. They go, oh, I need Orc Commandos and money's an object for me, and I'll buy that and put it in my army. Oh, that terrain, I play Orcs in 40k, that terrain looks cool, I'll buy that. So you got all the 40k people that are going to buy it up as well. And it just means, and I always feel this with Games Workshop games, and the reason they have to have this quite tight 3-year growth cycle is I really feel that they peak in terms of player numbers and player interest right after release, and then it's just steady decline. And maybe that's inevitable, but there's no real way. If you wanted now to champion, you'd be meaning to try and do this now. But if you go back 6-8 months before we're on the cusp of a new edition, if you wanted to really champion Kill Team to somebody and say, yeah, you need to get into Kill Team, you're forced to recommend. I couldn't recommend the Kill Team starter box. It's kind of pointless, right? So then what you go? Well, we can go for Into the Dark when it was around. It's not really around anymore. Salvation, not really a starter box. They just needed to keep Octarius as an evergreen concept, because that's what AMG have done with the Shatterpoint core box. It's there, it's not going anywhere. It has stuff in that's still relevant now, right? And granted, the game's only just over a year old, and it has enough terrain to play the game, right? Why can't GW just keep something like Octarius on the shelves? I don't understand. We're on the cusp of a new edition, and I really hope that whenever it turns up, this what we're now almost 100% sure, I would say, was going to be Vespid versus versus flying Tempest of Silence in a city, like when that comes out. You know, if you even might want it, if you look at the city fight terrain and go, that looks pretty cool, I probably want it. Like, I think you probably need to buy that box because I think you need the terrain. Like, if you want to play the new edition of Kill Team, I imagine you're going to need that terrain. I imagine you're going to want to buy that starter box. And Games Workshop won't keep it in stock. And this is exactly why they do it. Because then people like me go, oh, well, you've got to buy it. You've got to panic because otherwise you miss out. And it genuinely, it works. It's fear of missing out. And... But the trouble is, if I say, well, don't buy it, unless you really love Silence or you really love Vespid, don't buy it, well, then you won't buy it. And then it'll sell out anyway. And then people will go, oh, I've missed out on getting the terrain. I don't feel like playing Kill Team. And then Kill Team will die faster. And it's really hard. Because it feels like here, as part of the, you know, I know I've just spent half the video talking about Shatterpoint, but I still think of myself primarily as like a Kill Team channel and somebody that wants Kill Team to do well. And it's like, just... Yeah, you've got to buy it, haven't you, when it comes out? Because they're not going to keep it around for you. And whatever comes out afterwards is not going to... It's not going to cut the mustard, right? Let me know your thoughts on this whole debacle. Do you wish you could buy Octarius? Did you buy Octarius? Did you buy the starter set? Are you a Shatterpoint player? Maybe you clicked on the video because it had Shatterpoint in and you want to know what Kill Team is. Loads of Kill Team videos on the channel. Probably going to do more Shatterpoint content as well in the next coming weeks and months. Trying to relate it like Shatterpoint versus Kill Team. How does this compare to that? Because I'm trying to keep my current audience clicking on the Shatterpoint video. It's a subtle YouTuber mind trick, right? Thank you to all my members who regularly comment, have subscribed to the channel, have joined the Discord. That's all really good. We got the hobby challenge video revealing the winners of the hobby challenge. It closes at midnight tonight, and then tomorrow I'll be making the video and putting that up. So that's all coming for you in the Total Impulse community. A big thank you as well to all my members, the people who actually pay some money each month for access to an extra Discord channel and a few extra videos and some early videos and stuff like that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But especially Massive Crit, who is subscribed at the highest tier and therefore gets a special shout out at the end of every video. Thanks a lot, mate. Thank you so much. All right, guys. I'll see you again next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye.